Hey everybody, I'm Scott with Starkey Family Fixing Rigging Up. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And make sure you got your notifications turned on. That way you get notified when I put out my next video. Now today, we're going to change out a brake line that has actually blown out on me. So let's get this video rolling and I'm going to show you where it's at. Now to make this a little bit easier to get in there so you can all see this, I'm actually going to take these two wheels off. The brake line that's actually blown is right down here, and it goes down here to the brake chamber. Now you do not have to take the wheels off to actually change this brake line, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to make this a little bit easier so I can get in there and explain things a little bit better, and it will be easier on me. Because on my truck, I've got all this plastic here, and since I've got to let out all the air pressure, everything's going to drop down. So let me go ahead and get these tires off real quick, and we'll get to it. Okay, so now that I'm in here, this right here, can you see that? As you see, when I'm telling you it's blown, it's blown. So this actually goes down to my brake chamber to right here. And then what happens is it follows my frame rail back all the way back on the other side of the fifth wheel plate. Okay, so it comes out back here. Right here's the frame rail. Comes back and goes right here to this valve. So that's what we're actually doing and we're taking care of. So on my other brake chamber, places where the hose might rub, you can see what I've done on there. But apparently in this area here, all of mine have actually fallen out. So we're going to be repairing that also. Okay, so unfortunately, you see these little ties that are on there? Now, we're not going to cut them on this first line here. We're going to cut them on this line here. And now we're not going to throw them away. You see this hole? What we can do is we can run a zip tie through that and up through around. So let's go ahead and clip these out because we're never going to get them apart. Okay, there's one. These things are so wide, the factory ones. There we go, there's another one. And then, of course, we got some on back. So let me go ahead and get all these clipped and I'll be right back. Well, we're going to actually take this fitting here apart. Sometimes you can get away with doing this. Depends on what's actually on your vehicle. So all this actually is, when you see a fitting looking like this is just a compression fitting. And it's easy to take apart, as you see. So now you can take that and just spin it off if you want. Very, very simple. Always make sure that you have a compression fitting on there. If you do, it's easier just to take that apart. Okay, so since we have this section now, let's go ahead and move to the back. Okay, so it's the next day. I had some things I had to take care of. So by the time I got back yesterday, it was a little bit dark. So it's the next morning. Now, where we left off at is I need to get this line off. So we're just going to unscrew this from the back. Okay, that came out pretty simple, so that's always a plus. Now we'll get the fitting out of here. Okay, so unless I got any more zip ties in there that I didn't see, we should be able to just simply pull this hose out of here. That's simple. Okay, so when I pull the line out and I actually measure it with it straightened out, I get about 69.5 inches long. So I'm actually going to add a couple more inches to this just to have a little bit extra play. Let's go ahead and put the compression fitting together, which is actually pretty simple to do. Make sure you get the round end in, bring it towards the end. Just slide that in there. And then just draw it back together. And then you just simply take your wrenches and you just tighten it up. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put this angle fitting on after we use a little bit of this thread tape. So I'm going to have this angled to the inside of the truck. Okay, so now we're going to get the air line. Before we actually take this and thread it in, we're going to take this air line and we're going to drop it down and feed it back through here. Which is a little bit easier sounding than what it really is. Okay, I got lucky actually. Okay, let me pull it out from the back. Okay, so I got a little bit too much back through here, but that's fine. Okay, so this right here is what we need. So I am going to lay that right there. Now we're going to go right back up front again. Okay, so the reason why we took that extra line and went ahead and ran it back is as I turn this in here, the line's going to flop around. Well, not only that, when we get to the back side, we're going to have extra line. So if I need to cut anything off, then I can. Pretty simple. Now I'm just putting some thread tape on here. Okay, so let's get this started. I'm going to back it up a little bit, wind it backwards a little. Okay, so now I just got to manage to keep it straight. There, the line just flipped. We're just going to keep turning it. It's starting to tighten up in there now. Okay, so we ended up knocking the camera, so anyways, now I'm just tightening this down. Move this. Okay, so we now have the direction of the brake line that we now need, and it's tightened in there. Okay, so you remember earlier when I said that when we were clipping these we were going to use some zip ties? But we're just going to run them through the middle because there's actually a nice hole in here that we can do that with. There we go. Now let me go ahead and do the rest of these and we'll come right back. Okay, so we're going to get this first part here ready. This is part of the compression fitting. We're going to go ahead and screw this in first. There we go. Now keep in mind, I am using an adjustable wrench on all this. just because it is simpler to do this sometimes with an adjustable wrench. Okay, that's in there now. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. This line would be like right about in here. So since we don't want that bend that loosely into the frame, we're going to bring it out just a little bit. I am actually going to cut the line back right about in here. Okay, let me see here. I can do just a little bit more here. And if you've never seen a pipe cutter, or actually an airline hose cutter, how about that? This is all it is. It just has a razor blade in the middle, and you just clamp it down. These are extremely nice. Okay, so just so I can get in there a little bit better, I'm going to remove this airline here and tuck it out of the way. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this airline here, pre-fit it, and make sure that it's actually right where I want it at. And that is where I want it. So we can go ahead and tighten this up. Okay, and we got it tight. Okay, so you remember that leftover line that we had? All you're going to do is just go down the center of it here. Watch, do not cut yourself with a utility knife. It's almost done. Okay, so what we do is we take this and we put this over top of the line, and then we put a couple zip ties on there. And what happens is, at any point like around the frame, if it's going to rub something, it will rub this, not your airline. So let's go ahead and add this. Okay, so it just fits right there in place. So all we're going to do is put a couple zip ties on here to hold it on. And there we go. The line is protected. Let me show you what that looks like in there. How about that? See that right there, how it's protected? Perfect. I'm Scott with Starkey Family, Fixing Rigging Up. I hope this has actually helped you. If you've never changed out an airline before, I hope you follow what I've done and save yourself some actual money. If you went to a dealership, this could easily they could easily charge you an hour, 2 hours labor for this. And this is only maybe a 20-minute job, if that. So this total job could have cost you around $200. It could have cost me around $200. But guess what? It did not cost me $200 because I did it myself and saved some money. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and make sure you have your notifications turned on. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.